Wisdom is often misunderstood as simply knowing more. But true wisdom is not about accumulating knowledge. It is the ability to discern what is good and bad, what brings happiness to oneself and others, and the wisdom to act on it. According to the Buddha, wisdom is understanding the impermanence of life, the constant cycle of arising and passing away. Buddha emphasized that wisdom leads to the complete destruction of suffering, and to develop this wisdom, there are key practices one should follow. The first is associating with wise and virtuous people. The people you spend time with play a crucial role in shaping your life and wisdom. The second is to listen to and learn the teachings of the Buddha. By reflecting on these teachings with proper attention, one can develop a deeper understanding of life. Lastly, the Buddha suggests practicing according to these teachings. Wisdom is not just acquired through knowledge, but through consistent practice and reflection. In short, developing wisdom requires cultivating good company, learning from the teachings, paying proper attention, and actively practicing these principles. This path leads to a deeper understanding of life and the ability to live with clarity, peace, and wisdom. Wisdom is often mistakenly seen as simply the accumulation of knowledge, but true wisdom goes far beyond just knowing facts. While knowledge can certainly be powerful, it's wisdom that allows us to understand what is truly good for ourselves and others, and to act on that understanding. According to the Buddha, wisdom is the ability to recognize the impermanence of life, the constant cycle of things arising and passing away. The Buddha teaches that wisdom has the power to destroy suffering by helping us understand the true nature of life. To cultivate wisdom, the Buddha outlines several key practices. First, he emphasizes the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who possess superior wisdom. The people we choose to associate with have a profound influence on our lives, especially in our spiritual growth. The Buddha encourages us to seek companions who are wiser than us, or those who have qualities that can inspire and guide us toward the right path. Secondly, the Buddha advocates for listening to and reflecting on the teachings of the Dharma. By hearing the Buddha's wisdom and deeply reflecting on these teachings, we gain the necessary insights to develop our understanding. This requires proper attention and mindfulness, as simply hearing words is not enough. We must engage with them thoughtfully. Finally, the Buddha advises us to practice what we learn through the Dharma. Wisdom is not just about knowledge. It's about applying what we learn in our lives. When we practice the teachings, we put wisdom into action, which leads to deeper understanding and personal transformation. In summary, to develop wisdom, we must associate with wise people, listen attentively to the Dharma, and practice it in our lives. By doing so, we can cultivate wisdom that brings peace, happiness, and the elimination of suffering. In today's world, the idea of wisdom is often misunderstood. Many people believe that wisdom is merely the accumulation of knowledge, thinking that the more you know, the wiser you become. However, wisdom goes far beyond this simplistic view. It is not about just gathering information, but about understanding and discerning what is good, what brings happiness, and what leads to well-being. The Buddha's teachings provide us with a deeper understanding of wisdom, guiding us on how to develop this invaluable trait in our lives. The Buddha describes wisdom as the ability to perceive the true nature of life, its impermanence, arising, and passing away. He teaches that the root of suffering lies in our inability to accept the impermanent nature of existence. Wisdom, therefore, is the understanding of this impermanence and the ability to live in harmony with it. When we grasp the reality that all things, be it our emotions, relationships, or even our own lives, are in constant flux, we free ourselves from attachment and the suffering that comes from it. But how do we develop wisdom? The Buddha provides us with practical advice and teachings to guide us on this path. One of the key steps is to surround ourselves with people who possess greater wisdom than we do. In Buddhism, it is said that we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. This principle is particularly important when it comes to wisdom. The people we associate with shape our mindset, influence our thoughts, and guide our actions. If we are surrounded by individuals who are wise, compassionate, and mindful, their influence will naturally help us cultivate these qualities in ourselves. On the other hand, if we associate with those who are ignorant or lead lives filled with negative behaviors, our own growth in wisdom will be stunted. Therefore, it is crucial to choose our companions wisely, seeking those who inspire, uplift, and guide us toward greater understanding. In addition to associating with wise individuals, the Buddha emphasizes the importance of listening to the teachings of the Dharma. Dharma refers to the Buddha's teachings about the nature of life, the path to liberation, and the principles that govern how we should live. By listening to the Dharma, we gain access to profound insights that can help us understand the world around us. However, simply listening is not enough. We must engage deeply with these teachings, reflect on them, and contemplate how they apply to our own lives. Without this deep reflection, knowledge alone does not lead to wisdom. The Buddha urges us to practice proper attention, which means not just hearing the teachings, but also understanding and internalizing them. When we pay proper attention to the Dharma, we allow its wisdom to permeate our consciousness, guiding us toward right understanding and right action. Once we have absorbed the teachings, the next step is to put them into practice. Wisdom is not just an intellectual exercise. It is something that must be lived. The Buddha teaches that to truly develop wisdom, we must apply the principles of the Dharma in our everyday lives. This includes acting with compassion, practicing mindfulness, being aware of our thoughts, words, and deeds, and striving to live in a way that aligns with the path of virtue. In other words, wisdom is about action. It is through our actions that we express the wisdom we have gained. The more we practice the teachings of the Buddha, the more wisdom we cultivate, leading to a life of peace, contentment, and freedom from suffering. The Buddha's path to wisdom is not a quick fix. It requires patience, dedication, and consistent practice. It is a gradual process of transformation that takes time. We must cultivate mindfulness in every aspect of our lives, from how we treat others to how we respond to challenges. It involves developing a deep awareness of our own thoughts and emotions, understanding their nature, and learning how to respond with equanimity rather than reactivity. As we walk this path, we begin to see life more clearly, understanding the impermanence of all things and the interdependent nature of reality. This realization leads to a deep sense of peace and acceptance, freeing us from the anxiety, fear, and suffering that often arise from attachment and ignorance. One of the most important aspects of developing wisdom is learning to let go of the ego. The ego, or the sense of a separate self, is the source of many of our negative emotions: anger, jealousy, pride, and selfish desire. It is the ego that leads us to seek validation from others, to cling to things that we cannot keep, and to fear the loss of what we have. Wisdom teaches us to transcend the ego, to recognize that our true nature is not defined by our possessions, our status, or our accomplishments. When we let go of the ego and recognize our interconnectedness with all beings, we begin to cultivate compassion, understanding, and humility. These qualities are the foundation of wisdom, allowing us to navigate life with grace and clarity. Moreover, wisdom enables us to develop resilience in the face of life's challenges. When we understand the impermanent nature of all things, we can accept that difficult times are a natural part of life. Wisdom helps us to remain calm and composed even when faced with adversity. Because we know that suffering is not permanent and that everything changes. Instead of reacting with fear or frustration, we approach challenges with a sense of equanimity, knowing that we can weather the storms of life with patience and wisdom. In conclusion, wisdom is not simply about acquiring knowledge or intellectual understanding. It is about cultivating the ability to see clearly, to understand the true nature of life, and to act in ways that promote happiness and alleviate suffering. By surrounding ourselves with wise people, listening to the teachings of the Dharma, practicing mindfulness, and putting the teachings into action, we can develop the wisdom that will guide us through life. As we walk the path of wisdom, we find that it leads to a deeper sense of peace, fulfillment, and freedom, helping us to live in harmony with ourselves and with the world around us. In the quest to develop wisdom, the Buddha emphasizes the importance of association with wise individuals. The people we spend time with greatly influence our growth, both spiritually and personally. As the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Surrounding ourselves with those who inspire, motivate, and guide us towards higher wisdom is crucial. The Buddha advises that we should always associate with those who are more advanced in wisdom or have equal qualities to us, rather than those with lower qualities. These wise companions will help shape our thoughts, behaviors, and spiritual practices. By being around individuals who exemplify wisdom and positive traits, we are more likely to internalize those qualities and develop wisdom ourselves. In addition, the Buddha teaches that listening to the Dharma, the teachings on the true nature of life, is essential for wisdom. This requires not just hearing, but deeply reflecting on and practicing these teachings in our daily lives. With Rihi, the right association, attention, and practice of the Dharma, we can cultivate wisdom and live a life of peace and understanding. One of the most important lessons we can apply in life is the value of surrounding ourselves with wise and positive individuals. As we grow older, the people we spend time with can greatly influence our mindset and happiness. The Buddha teaches us that wisdom develops not only through knowledge, but also through the company we keep. By spending time with those who inspire, guide, and motivate us, we can nurture our own growth and understanding. It is essential to be mindful of the relationships we cultivate, especially in later years, when emotional well-being plays a central role in overall health. Additionally, practicing mindfulness and reflection on the teachings of life, as Buddha suggests, helps to shift our focus away from the negative and toward the positive, fostering a deeper sense of peace and clarity. Letting go of negativity and cultivating wisdom through thoughtful companionship and reflection is a path to contentment and fulfillment. So, choose your relationships wisely, stay open to learning, and allow the wisdom of those around you to guide you through the challenges of life with grace and understanding.